Through you, Mr. Mayor, our live stream has begun. You may resume your meeting.
Yes, indeed, Madam Clerk, I see all councillors have returned, and we're back on the show.
Excellent. So our next report is 12.2, Greening the Landscape Research Consortium. I have a motion put forth by Councillor Kerr, seconded by Councillor Eckert. Be it resolved that Council receive report 2024-0250 for information, and that Council directs staff to become members and collaborative partners with the Vineland Research and Innovation Center's Greening the Landscape Research Consortium, including a $5,000 membership for 3 consecutive years to be funded through the Community Planning and Development operating budget. To you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I turn to council. Any comments or questions on this report? Councillor Kerr.
Just for my own clarification, is that $5,000 per year for 3 consecutive years, or was it $5,000 that cover a 3-year period?
To the CAO.
It's $15,000 in total, 5 per annum.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any other questions on the reports? Not seeing any. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And I see none opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next report is 12.3, rooftop solar panel installation at the MCC. I have a motion put forth by Councillor Eckert, seconded by Councillor Hildebrand. Be it resolved that Council receive report 2024-0256 for information, and that Council include the MCC rooftop solar panel project of $423,278.98 as a red circle item in the 2025 capital budget pending successful feasibility and implementation grant applications. To you, Mr. Mayor, for discussion.
Okay, thank you. On this report, comments and questions from council members? Councillor Hildebrand.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I thank you for this report. I think it's an excellent report. I consider solar panels at the MCC an excellent investment for this community. Potential return on investment in the entire environmental benefits. I consider the report ROI very conservative in this report. That being said, I would like to summarize the last 12 months electrical bill at the MCC as of October the 10th. The total invoices for the year will be $404,229. The adjusted kilowatts will be 2,602,097. The GA costs, this is the cost that'll really surprise you, is $174,808. That's 43% of the total bill. The electricity is only 25% of the bill. The report that we've got is just saying the 20 years is based on the savings based on electricity. The nice thing about solar, it produces the most energy during the summertime, and that's when our highest electricity bills are. So that's when we get our peaks. For instance, our October the 10th bill, which is September billing, was $42,398. Our GA costs were $20,107. And that's not electricity uses, that's just a global adjustment. That's because we're using electricity at the highest peak, at the highest cost. One of the things I took note of is there an opportunity for us to adjust our rates? Because previously we've talked to the Hydro One, and they classify us as a community center, which is class 36. There is another class, but being a community center, we're not allowed to take advantage of it. One of the questions I asked Hydro One, could we divide the community center into the hot area and the cold area, calling the hot area the community center and the cold area a rink? If we did that, I haven't got an answer from Hydro One yet. It takes them a while to come up. They said they got the question, but
3 months.
yeah, it will take a while. But what I'm looking at is there we would have an opportunity to do peak saving, and that has a considerable effect on the amount of return on investment that we can achieve on this project. So because when you look at it, when 43% of it is our GA costs, we can knock that thing down considerably, we can save more money on our GA costs than we can save on electricity. So that's just one of the things we looked at. And we note from our visit from Cisco, they have the software, which Niagara College uses software, the big industries use software to reduce to do the peak saving that they want you to do. And peak saving occurs when the government ISO tells you, we're using too much electricity, you need to conserve some. The nice thing about solar is DC power coming off the grid. Things like our charging stations and other things are generally DC power that's going into the car chargers. So if we can divert some of the power into that kind of thing as well, that's another potential way of saving. So I think that 20% saving or the 20 years is very conservative, and I think with these other alternatives, we have an opportunity to reduce the cost. So I'm highly in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Also, speaking with someone who is familiar with this installation, from an environmental point of view, the installation is the equivalent of reducing our CAO to planting 8,500 trees. So that's substantial over the lifetime of the area.
That's right.
Not that I want to plant 8,500 trees, but
I like reducing the CAO.
yeah, there we go.
Could be a lot less gassy.
Yes. Any other comments or questions on this report?
That's good.
Not seeing any. Call the vote. All those in favor? See none opposed. Motion carries. To the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does bring us to our next report, 12.4. And if I may, before we begin, due to the sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Hildebrand.
Sorry, I forgot to mention one technical information with regards to splitting the electricity service to the MCC. We already have that facility wired that way with the emergency shutoff generator. The box on the outside of the generator only supplies power basically to the hot end of the rink. So we don't have to rewire the facility, which is a significant amount of money if we had to do that.
No.
Sorry for that. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you for that additional information, Councillor. To the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prior to hearing this report, I would just provide some additional information. As this report was delayed from November 6th, staff are proposing slight amendments to the motion as it reads in the current report. As council has seen on this agenda, the surplus land bylaw is on the agenda for consideration, and staff have received the R plan, as well as provided proper notice to the public that this report and the bylaw would be considered today. And with that, Mr. Mayor, the last two recitals of the motion as it appears on the agenda are no longer necessary. As well, there's a slight administrative change to the bylaw number. It currently reads 73, but it should be 76 in the report.
Okay, thank you for that, Madam Clerk.
And I can read out that motion for you for clarity if you wish. So I have a motion put forth by Councillor Olson, seconded by Councillor Niznik. Be it resolved that Council receive Report 2024-0225, Meridian Community Center Adjacent Lands Implementation Plan for information. And that as staff have now executed the direction of Council to hire a land surveyor and a local realtor to complete a survey, severance, and partial sale of lands adjacent to the MCC, as directed by Council on September 4th, 2024, by bylaw number 76, being a bylaw to declare a portion of the severed lands to be surplus to the needs of the town, be approved in principle. And that council directs staff to complete the new MCC parking lot on the north portion of the severed lands project using option blank. And that council directs staff to include a 2025 capital budgets in accordance with the recommendations set out in option blank for the construction of the new MCC parking lot on the north portion of the severed lands. And again, those last two recitals are no longer necessary, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Comments and questions on this report? And obviously, we're also asked to choose options 1, 2, or 3. Councilor Eckert.
Thinking back to previous discussions on this issue, and I believe that I know I was in favor of option 3, which is the hybrid solution, and I believe that's what council was looking at as well. So that's what I would be in favor of.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor Wink.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Looking at the report, my initial feeling was to go with option one, and I see through the recommendation, staff are also recommending proceeding with option one. So we'll go with that.
Councillor Eckert.
Yes, Councillor Nizick pointed out to me further down that I was reading the wrong one, so I agree with Councillor Wick.
Yes, I did. Thanks for that.
So if we do go, as council remembers, about a month or 6 weeks ago, we were talking about hybrid options, or not hybrid options, I'm sorry, design build options. And if we go to number 3, I believe is the CEO, if I read that report correctly, number 3 is indeed going to a design build. And it made a statement there that I didn't quite agree with, but maybe someone can, it said that when we go to design build, we possibly give up some control on the project, which I find to be not true, because we go to a design build, that design build comes back to the town's public works, back to our engineers, and it has to meet all of our specifications. Am I correct on that, Director of Public Works, Mark?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, you're correct. If the option 3 is chosen to go with a design build approach, then staff will produce an RFP document. It'll be a design build document. We've done this in the past. That'll be put out to the industry. We'll select, instead of doing the traditional design bid build where the town would hire or put an RFP out, do a competitive process, hire an engineering consultant to do the design work, where we have full control over everything that happens in that design phase. That's kind of that's the part you're losing. With the design build, you're specifying what the end result is, and the design build contractor, as part of that process, will determine how and what materials and what they will do to get that end result. So when you go to a design build process, the control that you're losing is basically the details and how you get to the end result. Whereas when it's a design build, you still have those specifications in there, what you need, what your requirements are, and that won't change. It's just how the contractor gets there would be under their control.
And as the report stipulates, or the going to design build, and Mr. CEO obviously comment on this, we have both the engineering and the build take place in the same year, and we have to finance that from the budget, but we're using as soon as we sell the land, that ends up canceling each project. That will pay for the project, correct, Mr. CEO?
Fundamentally, that's correct. I'm happy to, if you'd like to hear from Ms. Quinlan Murphy, she can, in essence, the question on those options is, are we financing it ourselves and then being paid back with a later sale, or are we waiting for the sale and then going to finance out of the proceeds of the sale? They're both viable options. There is a staff recommendation for a reason, but those are options. And then, of course, a member of councils have indicated some affinity for design build as a process, so that's in there too as an option. And we're happy. All three are viable paths forward. There is no wrong choice here. The question is, what's the best thing for Pelham in this community? And we're very happy to take direction.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification. Any other comments? Councillor Kerr.
Yeah, so as I read, option 1 is that it's a red circle, and it's all based on pending the sale of the property as it exists. So that to me, is more in line with my thought process, rather than let's just go ahead and do it and then try and get the money later, coming backwards type of thing. I mean, it's it's again, another one of these, how fast will the property sell? How urgently do we need the parking? These are all the different things. I just wanted to make that clarification, was that it was pending the sale for option one.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Kerr. Oh, I see Director of Public Works, please.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. So what we're really discussing is a project delivery model here. So and I want to stress, the way the capital budget was presented on Monday, it included a line item for $850,000 for the new parking lot. So that basically covers option 2 or 3 to just approve the whole thing as part of the capital budget, and we will move forward with design and construction, either through a design build process or whether we do it in separate assignments, irregardless of the sale of the property. So, okay, so there's that. With option 1, it's using it's getting council's commitment to say, instead of $850,000, approve a project in the capital budget of $80,000. So that happens no matter what. January 1, we're going with the design phase. And then the construction portion of $770,000 would be red circled in that budget pending, and would not proceed until the sale of the property to fund it. So that's the options. And the way the budget has been presented to you on Monday is that the $850,000 is in the budget, regardless of the sale of the property.
Okay, thank you. And of course, just to reiterate, when we go design build, that company, they do the design work, and that's included in their final price to us.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. If we go to a design build delivery model, then an RFP will be put together, design build RFP, and that successful proponent will they will have the engineering team. They will not be hired through the town, although the town would be involved as part of the project team, but the engineering would be completed by the contractor.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. Further discussion from council? Council Eckert?
So just to be clear, and I think it's a question to Ms. Quinlan Murphy, but if we go with option 1, we would be replacing an $850,000 item in the capital budget with an $80,000. Is that?
No, through you, Mr. Mayor. No, what we're saying is that the town will finance the $850,000 until the land is sold. So it's just a timing issue. How quick do you want the parking lot? Do you need the parking lot today? If so, then the town will self-finance that, and then when the land is sold, replenish our reserves. Or if you're saying, no, we can wait, we want to make sure that the land is sold first, then we will red circle it. $80,000 is just the cost for the design. $800,000 is everything. No, 850, what is it?
850.
850 is everything. It's the design and the construction. So no matter what, $80,000, the design, if I'm correct, Jason, will go forward next year.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So with option 1, council will be authorizing staff to award an engineering assignment for $80,000, which would take place no matter what, pending council approval of the budget. And the construction portion would not proceed until the sale of the land. If council wants us to proceed with a design build bid, the same approach, but irregardless of us selling the land and have the town finance the project until the sale of the property, that is option 2. Okay? And in option 3, it's a complete different delivery model. It's a design build model where you authorize the full amount for the project. It's just that you eliminate the RFP for the engineering phase, just go strictly to a design build project. And in that phase, and that option, the contractor will be retaining the engineering firms. They will be responsible for doing all the engineering.
Okay. And then to go one step further, when we do set out the RFP, if it is indeed a design build that we choose, we don't necessarily have to accept that. We don't have to accept that RFP, do we?
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I see.
Well,
Maybe.
So
to the
that's
CAO.
a complicated question. We have a purchasing system, and the default presumption when you run a valid, lawful competition is that the winner wins.
I see.
And we proceed. Now, there are some reasons where you can cancel it, like you can literally take multiple school courses in this in law school, and I imagine in engineering and accounting while we're at it.
Yeah.
So that's a very hard, but you go forward, we all go forward with the best intention
Yes.
of doing the thing that's the subject of the RFP. So that,
But on the RFP, we would actually put the 850,000 down as a projected cost anyway, would we not?
yeah, it works the same as any other RFP.
Yes.
We're just buying engineering services and construction services all in one?
Yes.
Or our default way of operating is engineering first, construction services second,
Yes. Okay.
really.
Okay, so maybe I'm a little slow on the uptake here, but right now in the capital budget, we have $850,000 in the capital budget to do this project. If we go with option one, we're only committing $80,000
No.
to the project. The $770,000 only gets committed if it's red circled until we sell the property.
Oh.
Yeah, so in other words, why do we have to commit $770,000 to the capital budget, but it's red circled? Okay, so it's there, but we're not going ahead with it. Okay, I got it now. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor. Any other comments to Deputy Mayor Wink?
Yes, through you, Mayor, to Ms. Quinlan Murphy. If we were to self-fund the $800,000+, where's that money coming from?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's coming through the capital projects. As you're aware, every year we carry forward about $7 million of projects that aren't spent. So it's coming out of that pool. This is a timing issue. Like, we're assuming that land will sell within a year. Is that reasonable?
Yep.
And so we're saying that we have the money sitting there in the reserves that hasn't been spent from the capital projects, and then when that land is sold, it just replenishes it.
So with that money that's sitting over here, this $7 million, we're earning interest on that money.
Yep.
Yeah. And if we take it and spend it on here, we're not earning interest on their money. So,
We also get the parking lot sooner.
Yeah, that's.
but we
that's
have a
the-
temporary parking lot that's roughly the same,
Yeah.
same thing,
Yeah.
so.
That's the big decision. How soon do you want the parking lot? Do you want it now? Then we can self-finance it. If you want to wait and sell the land, then we just wait and red circle it.
Okay. Councilor Hildebrand, yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. My ideal, if I had an ideal, isn't exactly what those options are. My ideal would be to live with the parking lot we've got now, sell the land, and then go to design build. That would be my ideal. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Councilor Olson.
Yes, the other day we had a conversation about the library. I would sooner save the money and apply it to the library fund. And we've got a parking lot that is perfectly serviceable right now. And it has been for a couple of years now, and I guess it's really, if you look at the classic definition of what waste is, it sits there 95% of the time empty, absolutely empty. So we've only got using it 5% of the time. I don't know why we just can't leave it the way it is and put the money towards the library. So, and also I have a problem with creating a permeable surface there, right at that critical point of between the 12 Mile Creek and the drain, and whether that water should be going into the canal or into the 12 Mile Creek means something to me. So, which way does it go there? I think I had a definition.
Well, wait, if I can intervene here. Council has already made the decision about the parking lot. That's not what we're deciding today. The parking lot has been decided.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
Off track, Mr. Mayor.
I could say again, but I'm not going to say that.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, so, and on the options, 1, 2, or 3, do you have any comments?
My pick would be option 1, I think, if I was going to pick that one.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Kerr?
I guess I'm I'll muddy the water. I'm in support of Councillor Hildebrand in that it would be, in the ideal world, let's settle and then let's do a design build just because it's the likelihood of greater efficiency. The question I have is, if we go to option 1, spend the $80,000, are we likely to come in at $770,000 for just the actual build of the facility? Or is it likely to be higher because whoever's going to build it's going to want to do a bunch of extra stuff above and beyond, which could have been incorporated in a design build? That's my concern. We've watched in multiple projects where we've had the designs don't follow up with the people actually doing the work when they're two separate entities, and suddenly, oh, we got a problem. And I hate those. I just do.
So I'm also in favor of Councilor Hildebrand. Perhaps if council's willing, Councilor, you can put a motion. Is that, Madam Clerk? I know we're looking at 1, 2, 3. Can we have an additional option put before us?
Yes, I would defer to the planning director. It is her report, so if she's satisfied with that, we can take an amendment.
Through you, the mayor, I think that's a feasible option. I'll look towards Director Marr for any input too, but it would basically be red circling with the design build.
Any additional comments to the director?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that would be a viable option as well.
Okay, thank you. And finance is agreeable? Okay, thank you. Perhaps the deputy or the clerk could read the motion?
Yes, I would just like to confirm with Councilor Hildebrand, as he would be making the amendment, just on the wording there, that that you would like to insert to red circle the design build for 2025?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, and I'd be looking for a seconder on that amendment.
Councilor Kerr will second.
Okay, thank you to you, Mr. Mayor, for discussion.
I thought maybe, could you read that one more
Sorry,
time?
the option would be to, would you like me to read the entire motion? Or,
Yes.
so the option would be to insert this new option to red circle the design build for 2025 as the direction on how staff would complete the new MCC parking lot.
Okay.
Yes, to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. On the motion, I'm sorry, to the Director of Finance.
To the clerk, can you just put down red circle for the sale of land until this, just specific why there's a red circle?
So the,
Yeah.
so sorry, circle the sale of the surplus land and the design build for 2025?
Through you, the mayor, I think it should be approving a red circle project for implementation pending sale of the south property using a design build.
Okay, so to approve the red circle project for implementation pending the sale of the surplus property using design build.
Okay,
Perfect.
excellent. Councilor Holderman, your motion, any further words?
No, that's very good. Thank you.
Councilor Kerr, you okay? Good. Any further comments? Councilor Nesnick?
Well, I just want to clarify with, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Marr, that he's comfortable with the design-build approach for this project?
To the director?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, I think this would be a good candidate for a design build project.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Not seeing any. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? I see none opposed. Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor Hildebrand.
And Mr. Mayor, we would be looking for a vote on the motion as amended with that option.
Any more comment on motion as amended? Call the vote. All those in favor? I see none opposed. Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you. That brings us to item 14. And I have a motion put forth by Councillor Eckert, seconded by Councillor Olson. Be it resolved that Council for the Town of Pelham, having given due consideration to the following, now read a first, second, and third time and do pass same, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign and seal the bylaws. Being number 176/2024, being a bylaw to declare the town-owned lands described in Schedule A attached to and forming part of this surplus to the needs of the municipality and therefore available for disposition. The legal description reading part of Block 4, Plan 59M 432, designated as Part 1 on our Plan 59-18205 and subject to an easement. Bylaw number 277/2024, being a bylaw to license and regulate traveling vendors operating in the town of Pelham and to repeal 3186/2011 and 41/2024. And 78/2024, being a bylaw to establish a system of permits for special events held on public and private property within the town of Pelham. Number 4, 79/2024, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 4481/2022 as amended for lands located on the southeast corner of Port Robinson Road and Station Street, legally described as part of Block 172, formerly Township of Thorold, now in the town of Pelham, from the R2 exception 129 zone to an amended R2 exception 129 zone. And bylaw 80, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 02/2023, being a bylaw to appoint members of the Committee of Adjustment and to authorize these members to also serve as fence viewers for the town of Pelham under the Line Fences Act. To you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, questions on these bylaws? Not seeing any. I'll call the vote. All those in favor? I see none opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does bring us to your notice of motion.
Excellent, thank you. Sorry. So council, as you know, during our recent regular meetings, we have had the pleasure of hearing a pre-recorded performance of our national anthem performed by a young student who I heard singing the national anthem at a local hockey game. Today, I would like to provide a notice of motion for consideration at the next regular council meeting. My motion will propose the creation of a procedure to allow our community members or those with close personal ties to our community to apply and submit a pre-recorded performance of the national anthem. These performances could be chosen to be played at the start of regular council meetings to help build pride in our community and encourage residents to get involved. That will be the mix of my motion. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That brings us then to item 16, being a resolution to move in camera. I have a motion put forth by Councillor Niznik, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wink. Be it resolved that the next portion of this meeting be closed to the public in order to consider the following. Section B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. D, labor relations or employee negotiations, being one item, advisory committees. And C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, and one item being in Ward 1. To you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. On the motion to go in camera, I'll call the question. All those in favor? I see none opposed. Motion carries.
Excellent. Please allow us a moment to stop the live stream and recording.